The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the #1 multimedia community on the internet with more than 4 million unique subscribers. Your host for this evening, that's me, folks. Yes, Boaz Frankel. Gary Baumgarten is not with us and will not be with us this afternoon or evening here on News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. But he will be rejoining us once again to host the show. News Talk Online on Monday at 5 p.m. New York time. In the time being, I'll be filling in for him. First, I want to welcome everyone to the room on this Friday afternoon, and a special welcome to all our affiliates. News Talk Online, as you know, is produced and showed right here on Paltalk by our Paltalk staff. I want to thank them very much for the hard work that they're doing. I want to thank also our affiliates. Our affiliates, I don't usually remember all the affiliates, which is not a good thing. We do have CRN Digital Talk Radio Network, which goes out to 12 billion households. We've got ASI Radio, Gemini Sound, and God forbid if I forgot anybody else. If I did, let me know in text. I know there are a couple more, but I just don't remember them. I'm going to have to ask Gary to give you a sheet to read off from until I actually remember him. Anyway, let's get started. Lag on the video? Well, then you're going to have to follow the video and listen. What can I say, Sue? I thought that this for this show, we would talk about something a little bit different, and although it's going to be somewhat political, it's going to be more scientific. I'd like to talk a little about what the United States of America is doing today in regards to the exploration of space. We haven't talked a lot, much about what's going on with the some of NASA's programs, which I'd like to cover, and to talk a little about both the scientific and the political ramifications of those programs. And to kick it off, I'd like to start with the hottest program on the plate right now, when President George W. Bush announced a mission to Mars. That's right. The president announced that we are going to be putting men and women, that is, on the planet Mars. Let's recap, folks. Going back to the early days of spaceflight, we had the Gemini missions, the Apollo missions that took us to the moon. After that came the various other missions like Skylab, which was kind of like a parallel mission to what Russia had with the Russian space station, and now we have the International Space Station, which is a consortium effort of many countries around the world to build a space station. Now, the space station itself really is actually has a twofold platform to it. The space station is a space lab for conducting experiments, and it has a future use. That future use would be to launch a mission to Mars from the space station, and there are some reasons for that. But now we have actually taken a couple of steps back, if you want to look at it that way, and we are now getting ready to go to the moon once again. As you remember, the famous words that were said by Neil Armstrong when he first set foot on the moon: one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Well, it seems that we're going to be doing that once again. We're going to be going to the moon, landing on the moon, and building a permanent space, or I would call it moon station on the moon. We're going to build a moon station on the moon, which they're probably going to call something like a moon boot camp, believe it or not. This will be a permanent base on the moon for scientific experimentation and as a once again, as a jump off point to go to Mars. It is expected that we will be starting to build this space station, or that, a moon station, kind of hard to get used to that, moon station on the moon within 10 to 15 years. The plans are in the make. NASA is already planning and building the ships, the rockets, the scientific equipment that is needed to go to the moon and land there. Once we have a moon base station, we will be launching from there and going to Mars. Now, just a couple of fine pointers on the differences between going to the moon and going to Mars. It is not easy to go to the moon. There's no question about that. I don't know if anybody knows this. It's a little known fact that it took 400,000 Americans to put Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins on the moon. 400,000 people. Well, it's going to take a heck of a lot more than that to put a man and woman, men and women, on Mars. The trip to the moon is only about 2.5 days, and it's really not that far considering the vast distances in space. But going to Mars is a whole different ball game. Going to Mars it means that there's going to be a much longer stay in space, possibly with or without artificial gravity. That means that you have to have supplies for a trip that takes about 8.5 months to get there. You have to stay on Mars for at least 19 months until Earth and Mars reposition themselves for the trip back, and then another 8 months to come back. So literally, you can see the differences between the two. There are some very interesting documentaries on going to Mars that you may want to have a look at, especially in some of the science programs on satellite TV that go into depth about it. But what I really want to get into is, and this is kind of like one of the first questions that I'd like to shift towards our listening audience here, is, I don't know if anybody has any idea how much it's going to cost to go to Mars, and add to that the combined budget that it would cost to build a moon station, to expand the International Space Station, and then to go to Mars and come back. Well, folks, we are talking about literally trillions of dollars to do it. More than 100 billion, Hobbs. Way, Hobbs, if it was $100 billion, you know what? Heck, I'd pull it out of my pocket and pay for it right now. No, I couldn't do that, but I'm just trying to explain that it's far beyond $100 billion. It is literally trillions of dollars, perhaps tens of trillions of dollars to do this. Of course, it spans over a long period of time. We're not talking about the next 2, 4, 5 years. We're talking about in the next 25 to 50 years to actually go to Mars. So trillions of dollars spent over that